Hi, everybody. My name is Matthew Doebler.
And I'm Coreen Wilson.
Welcome to the Online Litigator and to our series on 5-minute fundamentals. We only have 5 minutes to talk about today's topic, which is having a backup plan. So let's get straight into it.
How do you head off the inevitable tech glitches?
I think one of the things that you need to do is that you need to reboot your computers frequently. I know that in my litigation studio, I leave my machines on pretty much 24 hours a day. And if they're left on 24 hours a day, they don't ever have the opportunity to install their updates, and they don't ever get a chance to be nice and clean and fresh.
The longer you go between restarting your computer, the more updates there will be to install.
I had a technical problem not long ago where I was in a deposition, and I learned a great lesson, which is to get off the Zoom call. It's much easier to troubleshoot the problem if you get yourself away from an audience. So if you're not sitting there with everybody watching you, you have a lot more breathing room where you can try to sort through the problem and figure out exactly what you need to do. Just let them know that you're having technical problems, get yourself off the Zoom call, try to figure it out, and then when you're good, come back onto the Zoom call.
The other thing I think is good to keep in mind is to, have a checklist of what you can go through if you do have technical problems, like rebooting your computer, checking all of your connections and power cords, that sort of thing. I recently had an issue where my computer wouldn't start, but I Googled it on my phone and ran through a checklist I found online and learned that if you have a bunch of USB devices plugged into your computer, sometimes it doesn't like that and won't boot up. And sure enough, as soon as I unplugged all the USB cords, started right up with no issue.
We're going to put together a checklist of common problems and their solutions, and we'll link that in the description for this video. But whether you use our checklist or your own checklist, I think what's valuable is to have something in front of you that you can look at when you're freaking out and you're nervous about things. Have something there that you can look at that gives you a framework with which to solve that problem.
It really helps if you have redundant technology. That's one thing that I've learned the hard way, having cameras fail and cords fail. If you have backup devices, it's pretty easy troubleshooting wise to switch between them and isolate what the problem really is.
You really need to play with all of your technology in advance. If you've worked with these devices, hopefully you know the problems that they tend to have before you get into a game day situation. So you know when this thing freezes up, it needs to be rebooted, and you kind of have an idea of what needs to happen to make it so that it gets there.
I like to practice during mediation sessions when the mediator isn't in the Zoom room with me, and I've got a client or a claims adjuster or somebody in the room with me, and I can ask them, oh, how does this look? How does that look? And switch between different cameras or different documents and get all the bugs worked out then, while I've got a captive audience, when there's no pressure, no risk.
Another thing I think is important to make sure that you deal with is having redundant internet service. And that's tricky for a lot of us because we only have home Wi-Fi service. But if your Wi-Fi goes down and you don't have a backup plan for that, you're kind of out of luck.
Matt, can you tell us what some of those are?
Yeah, sure. Well, the simplest one I think is just your iPhone. If you have the right plan with your provider, you can make your phone into a mobile hotspot. It's not great, but it's not bad either. The other thing that you can buy is a device called a MiFi, which essentially is a similar thing. It creates a hotspot through a cellular network.
What about backup locations? Like, for example, what happens if you're planning on doing a deposition from your home office and it turns out that school's canceled that day and you've got kids running around, pets, and it's just not feasible to use the location you'd planned?
Oh, that's a great idea. I've never done it. Have you?
In a pinch, I have actually staged my master bedroom so that you cannot tell that I'm in a bedroom. I'll just sit actually in front of the door facing the window. So all you see behind me is the bedroom door. You can't tell what room I'm in.
All right, so we're at the end of our outline. Coreen, what are the big 3 things that we think our viewers need to make sure that they remember about having a backup plan for their online litigation systems?
Well, number 1, make sure you are rebooting your computer regularly so that those updates are installed.
Number 2 is to make sure that you have a written plan in place so that you have something to fall back on when things go wrong.
And number 3 is redundant technology, just in case something goes out.
All right, that's it. We got it in under 5 minutes. We'll look forward to seeing you next time for our next 5-minute fundamental video. Thank you.